Welcome aboard, good people. It's your main man, Scott Proctor, alongside my guy, Matt Morris, per usual. And we're back with another episode of Simple Question. But this time, we'll have more than one because we got a special guest joining us today for the very first time. An author of 11 books. His writing has appeared in the LA Times, Sports Illustrated, Golf Magazine. Jeff Shackelford. Jeff, thanks for joining us today, my man. How we doing?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
I'm doing well, man. I cannot complain, man. It's an exciting time, a crazy time to be talking some golf right now. It's been a wild week in the golf realm. I want to start here. Obviously, the PGA Tour this weekend definitely suspended all players playing in the LIV Golf Invitational Series, 17 guys in total. What do you make of the suspensions? Is this sending the right message, do you think? And how does this all kind of make the PGA Tour look?
Well, it makes them look tough, but I don't know, as we're watching this play out, if it's working. I think the kind of shock in all this is that either before these suspensions were handed out or right after, players resigned their memberships. I don't think that was something a lot of people saw coming, and it's one of those things. It's just that's a big step. I mean, if you heard Graham McDowell talking about it, it was something that caused him some consternation, but it doesn't affect. They have this amazing pension program, and so it doesn't affect that. So in a lot of ways, it really doesn't have a lot of sting to it. And of course, it's ironic to all of us who follow the game and follow the tour and have written for years about this. They never release suspensions or fines, disciplinary action, unless it's a performance-enhancing drug situation. And so they suddenly released this immediately yesterday. And without going too far into the weeds, you look at the players involved so far, and so many of them we suspect have files of bad behavior, questionable behavior. A lot of these guys have had little flirtations with the rules of golf, and not great ones. And so you kind of wonder if maybe if they'd release these things over time, these players would be a little more humble. But everything's just kind of got thrown out the window right now with the money. The money's so crazy from the Saudis that any reasonable predictions were just, you couldn't have factored all this in that's going on right now. It's nuts.
It really is. I mean, it's crazy. And, you know, I know earlier in this week, it felt like the PGA wanted to make the USGA make a move. And then the USGA announced that they were going to allow that the US Open be open. And they take pride in that. So do you feel like that was why the PGA decided to make this announcement, in part because the USGA wouldn't ban the guys that are playing in the LIV outing this weekend from the US Open next weekend?
It's possible that was their thinking. They all work in kind of secret behind the scenes. And there was definitely a fantasy that the USGA and then next month the R&A would get involved in this, and that losing that place in a major championship would deter players. But, you know, they're both called opens for a reason, and it would have completely destroyed what those tournaments are about, to be saying no to somebody over some membership squabble and money that has nothing to do with their performance on the course. So I'm guessing now it was just a move to show we're tough. We said we were going to do this. You guys have left us, and we're suspending you, and good luck to you. But like I said, it's just not having the impact, because the money that these players are being offered, these advances, are just incredible. And there's a whole bunch of other layers to it, with these guys whining about we get to finally be free agents, and then they're signing a contract that requires them to play a set number of events. It's all very exhausting at times, as you might imagine. I can't even imagine what a casual fan is, if they're trying to follow this, is thinking.
No, it's a whirlwind, to say the least. Obviously the LIV Golf series kicked off earlier this week in London. What have been kind of your first impressions of the Invite Series in terms of the product of the event as a whole?
Well, it feels like a golf tournament. It feels legit in a lot of ways. You know, they got ropes and a big build out and all the personnel you need. And the course looks like it's pretty tough, maybe a little too tough. The golf's a little bit of a slog watching, because it's a tough golf course, and they're not making a lot of birdies. And, you know, the television product they put out on YouTube is got a lot of interesting little innovations that we had seen from Fox a few years ago that kind of disappeared. Some of those stayed, by the way, in the game. And so that's a positive. The announcing, of course, is just comical. You know, it's very state TV like, and how great this is, and describing, crowds is sold out, and they're giving tickets away free on the internet, and a sea of humanity coming in the gates, and you read one guy's article and it's like there were like 10 guys waiting when the gates opened, and they eventually got a crowd out there, but it's like, guys, come on, don't try to get carried away here. It's you can't pull that stuff off these days. So in that sense, I guess it's good. They had a little minor problem on their very pretty website. They didn't have a leaderboard, and until late last night, we're recording this on Friday, but that's a problem. If you're running a golf tournament, somebody missed a memo there to make sure we have a leaderboard on our website. But those things were kind of expected when you're trying to slap something this ambitious together.
No doubt. And it is kind of interesting to see these little snafus that they have. But the real exciting thing that we want to talk about is the U.S. Open. So, I mean, looking into next week, how do you feel about the Open, and who are the guys that you're kind of paying attention to right now as early, favorites to win this major?
Well, it's quite a combination of things we got going on. It just feels like it's really wide open right now in the game. Clearly we have a few guys who are playing really well week to week, Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth's almost there, and Rory McIlroy's, teetering on just a breakout week, and Scotty Scheffler week to week is good. But after that, the names aren't very consistent. The guys we've kind of looked to. So, I mean, everybody's going to be really fascinated next week. And this is those are words you don't normally hear, and that's not a knock on him. He's just not the most exciting player on the planet. But Matthew Fitzpatrick playing well again this week in Canada. He won the U.S. Amateur at the Country Club in 2013, and he's a very much a U.S. Open type player. Hits it pretty straight most of the time. Doesn't hit it long, but he just plods along, and that's what you need in the U.S. Open generally, is a lot of patience and a lot of pars. So it's going to be a big deal when he returns to the venue. And then we're going to this course we haven't been to since 1988 for the U.S. Open, and it has a history of it's had 3 U.S. Opens, 3 playoffs, and of course it's had the greatest upset easily in golf history and probably in American sports history, which is Francis Ouimet winning in 1913. And we're just severely overdue for a shocking major championship winner in golf. The last one was probably Ben Curtis in 2003. He was ranked in the low 300s in the world. And I don't know, there's something about the ghost of Francis Ouimet and kind of the state of the game and where we are with a lot of parity and kind of a wide open vibe that makes me think we could get a crazy upset, or at least somebody who hangs around a long time who you just would never have guessed.
I would love to see that. I would love to see that personally, but we can't even really talk golf without talking some Tiger Woods, even if he's not playing. He obviously announced recently that he's not competing in the U.S. Open next weekend to give his body just a little bit more time to rest. How surprising or unsurprising was that to you, and how much of that decision you think was due to him wanting to be ready for the British Open at St. Andrews next month, where he's had plenty of success over the years?
Yeah, it was mostly about that. That's the tournament he circled from the beginning of the year. And even when he finished that horrible weekend in the Masters, which was admirable that he finished, tough hilly golf course, and he clearly got tired. But he made clear the Open was happening. The 2 majors in between, he wasn't sure. So that tells you how much it means to him. Obviously, he left Southern Hills after 3 rounds, not great. So something needed rest, and he's, very light on details. So we don't know what it is, but he was in pain. And the Country Club's a hilly, it's a tough walk. So I think you factor those in. He doesn't have a lot of a track record there. He's a horse for course kind of guy. And the old course, if there's ever one that you look at and you go, okay, well, at this point in his life, he still hits it a long way. Anybody who says he's like an old man, he only likes courses. Jack Nicklaus got this a lot. He only likes the ones where he doesn't have to hit it that far. Like, no, he still hits it a long way. He's so good with his irons, but it's his brain that's so brilliant. And I mean, I heard a thing yesterday. I won't go down it with you, but Nota Begay started talking about what Tiger did to prepare for those Opens, and then what he did to study, visualize, because it's a really goofy golf course to line yourself up on. And when you hear those kinds of things, you go, oh my God, there's nobody else doing that in golf. There's nobody. I mean, Phil Mickelson sometimes, if he's not all scatterbrained, but even he doesn't prepare like Tiger. And the old course, even in the way the game's changed, it still requires brains. And Tiger knows that if he can just be healthy and the swing is the swing is just great now. I don't know how this happened, but he went from driver yips to there's really no concern about where he's hitting the ball. He knows he can win. And so that's what the whole year has been built around.
Yeah, and that's the most important part, I think, too. As long as he thinks he can win, he knows he can win.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's on the table. I think it's on the table for sure. But can't wait to see him get back out there. Can't wait to see how this LIV Golf plays out and also the U.S. Open next week. But this has been great, Jeff. Thanks so much for joining us. Go check out Jeff's great work on jeffshackelford.com. Go check out the quadrilateral if you haven't already. But that's going to do it for us. For your boy Scott Proctor, Matt Morris, our guy Jeff Shackelford. Catch you on the next episode of Simple Question.
Thanks for watching. And for more Simple Question, click here and don't forget to subscribe.
And for more exclusive content, check out bvmsports.com. You won't regret it.